wanted the best? You've got the best podcast, the hottest podcast in the world. The Chris Voss Show, the preeminent podcast with guests so smart you may experience serious brain bleed. The CEOs, authors, thought leaders, visionaries, and motivators. Get ready. Strap yourself in. Keep your hands, arms, and legs inside the vehicle at all times, because you're about to go on a monster education roller coaster with your brain. Now, here's your host, Chris Voss.
Hey folks, Voss here from thechrisvossshow.com. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Iron Lady sings it, that makes it official. Welcome to the big show. As always, for 16 years and 2,500 episodes, we bring the Chris Voss Show because we love you. And we want you to love us back. So refer the show to your family, friends, and relatives. Go to goodreads.com/Chris Voss, LinkedIn.com/Chris Voss. Chris Voss won the TikTokity, and I think YouTube.com/Chris Voss. Today we've got an amazing young man rejoining us on the show for his second appearance. He's the author of the book that's coming out. It's called The Smallest of Miracles by Douglas Carpenter. We're going to get into it with him, and you may see his prior engagement on the show about a week or so ago, where we talked about some of the financial duties and some of the things that he does that we can enjoy. So be sure to check out that episode. Douglas Carpenter is a CFA, CPA, and that's basically a certified public accountant and chartered financial analyst. He brings to companies over 40 years of business experience. He began his career at age 17, becoming the youngest registered stockbroker in America. He majored in accounting, working 5 years at a top 4 accounting firm, and moved on to various consulting and chief financial officer positions. He's now owned and operated Comprehensive Accounting Solutions for 7 years. The firm provides a full range of accounting services to companies in all industries, with a specialty in the challenging hospitality sector. The firm has high-end specialty and providing tax saving strategies to small business. Welcome to the show, Douglas. How are you?
Thank you for having me on. I know that's quite a financial introduction for something, actually a book that is not about finance.
There you go. So give us your .coms, any place you want people to find out more about you on the internet.
Well, we'll be available on Amazon shortly. We'll be available on Kindle. I wish I could give the address right now, but it's yet to be published. We're getting ready. The book, again, is not particularly about finance. It's about life. And it's maybe a far more important topic than finance.
There you go. And do you have an anticipated release date yet?
Yes, January.
There you go. So give us a 30,000 overview. What can people find in this new book you're working on?
Sure. What it is, it's really a self-improvement book hidden as a novel. Now, one of the things, life is more like a symphony. There's a lot of instruments, a lot of things playing together that create your life. It's not one particular aspect. And one of the things I've found is I'll read a self-improvement book or I'll read a self-help book of some type, and it will give me something that's very nicely fine-tunes one of those instruments. But there's an orchestra here that plays. That's the life. And I tried to write a book that tuned as many of those instruments as possible, the more important ones, the things that it's not just, there's no one magic secret to being happy or being successful or viewing yourself as successful. There's no one magic thing. It's a combination of things. It's a whole orchestra playing together. And that's what I've tried to put together in the book. But it's not a guide, a step-by-step or anything like that. It's a story. It's a novel, and it tells you the story. Within that novel are all of these life lessons.
Good life lessons. That's what we need. The Smallest of Miracles. So tell us about, it's a story of a coming of age story where a boy, through life lessons, attains understanding, etc., etc. Tell us about this protagonist.
Sure. The protagonist, it begins with him as an adult. He is a powerful, successful person and also a bit mysterious. He views himself as a snake. That's really how he sees himself. He believes that it's not quite so much what you know or who you know, but more what you know about who you know. He's on his way to the elementary school he attended. It's a private Catholic school that he attended, which had gone bankrupt, but he is going to save that school from bankruptcy. But his real purpose there is to deal with 3 people that are there, 3 administrators of the school that he has corralled into the office, and he's going to spend the day with them. basically changing their lives for better or for worse, but they have, each of them holds a secret that he knows. And he's going to influence them greatly throughout the day.
Mm.
There it drops off to him as a child, attending the school. And it goes through the many, many different things he went through to become the person he is.
Mm. Well, there you go. That sounds like an interesting thing. I mean, is this a lesson? Because he seems like he's I don't know, kind of a sadistic sort of person, or is that the way this comes across? I don't know.
He may come across that way, and anybody potentially could be like that. But there's more to him than what just meets the eye. Now, as a child, he's bullied a lot. He also is a bully, so it kind of works both ways. He's very insecure about himself. He doesn't see himself as having any talents. He really doesn't have much talent, but he is very intelligent. But he doesn't see that either. Doesn't view himself as intelligent at all.
Wow. So I don't want to give away the ending of your book, but maybe he learned some things about himself, or maybe
that's really what it is. I mean, in one chapter, he figures out, at least to his satisfaction, what the meaning of life is and how to be happy. It's really quite simple and yet quite complex.
Yeah.
It's not an easy rule to follow, but it is rather simple. It's a simple rule that's not easy to implement.
There you go. And so, I guess his people are going to learn about themselves, and his 3 people that at the school are going to learn about themselves, and it's going to be an interesting experiment. So would you call this book kind of like a parable on what?
I would, and in sense of, you can create a book that, says, okay, step 1, step 2, this is all about life. I could tell you what the meaning of life is. And maybe you'll agree, maybe you'll disagree, but I'll tell you that it's not going to have the same impact as if I put it into a story and I show you a character that is actually discovering it, and you see why he feels that way, and there's an actual story around it. I mean, you take a parable, like you say, say the Good Samaritan. Okay, that's a story from 2,000 years ago, and yet we still talk about it. There are laws set up, Good Samaritan laws. And again, that's because it's a well-told story. People remember stories. They have higher impacts than just being told what to do.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, what prompted you to write this story? What was the motivation behind it?
I really think it comes down to my children. I wanted to give them life lessons, all the things that, everything from the good, the bad, the ugly of my own life that, I've been through, that I've learned. And there was no better way, I thought, than actually teaching them. And it's funny because there's probably not a day that goes by that some incident doesn't come up that I can't reference the book or give you an idea from the book as to how to handle it.
There you go. And so that was your motivation then?
Yes. Yeah.
What do you hope people get from the book when they read it?
What I'd like them to get is a better understanding of themselves, is to make them stop and think, understand that it's perhaps the small details in life that really have the meaning. It's really not the big things. You'll have big events that happen in your life, but it's the small ones that mean a lot. A golfer knows that a 2-inch putt counts as much as a 200-yard drive. And life is a lot like that, except you have innumerably more 2-inch putts than 200-yard drives.
Yeah. It's golfing has an interesting way of doing that stuff. And at what point is this your first book you've ever written?
Yes.
And at what point did you know you were a writer? Like what gave you the writer bug?
Well, I've worked on this book for 10 years. I'd say about 2 years into it, my writing style changed. It improved dramatically. It's just from working on it for so long. And other people started to read what I started to write, and they really liked it. It was very encouraging, and I kept going. And there are people that have said they've read, and it's helped to change them, which is something that is, I'd hope anybody would look at it and be able to improve or get something good out of it.
Yeah, there you go. And do you have other books maybe you're working on that you're maybe a series for this book or something along those lines?
To be honest with you, I've dumped everything I possibly know into this book. It's kind of, I've unloaded everything I could possibly to do that. I'd have to live maybe another 40 years to accumulate more to add to it.
There you go. Well, you probably have a lot of good life experience or stories that you can maybe add or something like that. So I don't know. It's always amazing how much we have data inside ourselves. When you look, you're like, I could probably write a book about that. I guess you just have to find the serendipity of the moment.
Yes. Well, what I'm hoping is people will find, as I write in the preface of the book, in the beginning of it, if I entertain you, then I've done my job as a writer.
Mm-hmm.
But if I inspire you and change you, I've done my job as a human being.
There you go. I love that focus. That's really how we help contribute to each other and improve each other's lives by not only entertaining each other, but educating through entertainment as well. So there you go. Yeah, is the book targeted toward a certain age group?
It's probably best targeted for the teen market, but it really anybody. I mean, I don't know anyone that wouldn't find it entertaining, amusing. There's so many things in there that I think people can relate to themselves.
Mm-hmm.
That they've done or experienced or had, and say, "Gee, that's just like I went through."
Yeah, that that can have effect as well. You talk about bullies. What is there a fascination or a reason why you talk about bullies in the book?
Well, the bullies in the book, first of all, I think everybody has challenges with other people, whether we call them bullies or not. The main character views bullies in a kind of a different perspective when he grows up. He views them more as coaches. These are the type of people that criticize you and pick on you and make you look at yourself and reevaluate the type of person, the things that you do. Maybe it's justified, maybe it's not, but it makes you change. And in fact, change is the fertilizer of life. It stinks, but it makes you grow. And
that sounds like a great title for a book, maybe. What was that line again? Life is
fertilizer is change is the fertilizer of life. It stinks, but it makes you grow, and it's necessary for growth. It really is.
I love it. That's almost a book title right there. It's definitely a coffee mug.
That is in the book, several places.
Oh, really?
Yes. Oh, yes. All of the lines I'm giving you are in the book.
Maybe you could do a book on Douglas Carpenter isms. Sayings by Douglas Carpenter.
Possibly, yeah. It's contained. There's a lot of them again in that book. One of the chapters, I have a chapter that's kind of interesting. It's only 4 words long, and it actually took me a long time to write that chapter. But the title of the chapter is Happiness, and all it says is weeks of uneventful routine. And if you think about it, you can think about it a lot longer than it takes you to read it. But really, some of the best times in your life is when nothing is happening. It's a daily going to work. Nothing bad is happening. Nothing tremendous is happening, but it's just living your life.
The monotony of daily life, as it were.
And it's not even monotony. It's just learning to appreciate that daily routine that you have, that certainness of it. It's very nice.
Yeah. Definitely nice. This is a book that people can learn from. They can read. Why do people tend to learn more maybe from parables or stories like this rather than that are parables, that elicit the story in a way that's kind of third person? Why do those tend to work better? I mean, you see like lots of that in the Bible in different places. So yeah.
You tend to remember stories. I think there's a better chance of you relating to it from your own personal experience. If I just tell you to go out and help, again, we'll use the Good Samaritan as a good parable. If I tell you to go out and help people, help strangers when they need your help, that's a great thing to say, but you're not going to remember that 2,000 years later. However, if you put it into a story that someone can understand, that someone needed help and they were passed over, but then finally someone stopped, you feel good for that person who stopped and the person who helped, and you want to emulate that person.
Yeah,
you can see yourself emulating it. That's what a story does.
Makes for a great story and stuff. Well, these are important books, and of course, They make great gifts as well, things that can inspire people. People are always looking for analogies like this, but miracles and change, to make people be better. What else haven't we talked about in the book that we should cover?
Well, it's also about, again, it's about small details. It's the little things. And I've even built them into the book quite deliberately. If you go
Mm.
through, you'll notice some chapters are all capitals, and some chapter only the first letter is capital and the rest is lowercase. Well, the reason I did that is when you find it as all caps, it's him as an adult. When it's
Oh.
just first thing, now you wouldn't notice that detail, but it's there.
Hmm.
And there are lots of details, lots of tie-ins, a few surprises towards the end of the book.
Mm.
I show you exactly what's going on, but it all pulls together and kind of makes you say, "Oh, I kind of should have seen that."
Ah, maybe a book you're gonna have to read a couple times to see
It
all the Easter
actually
eggs and
is,
stuff.
and I've had people do that, and they do get a lot more out of it the second time. I have one chapter in particular where, and one of the points I make in a book is a single piece of information can change your perception on anything, and that tends to be true.
Mm.
Take a politician that you've always supported, and then you find out they're in a corruption scandal. Well, it changes your opinion. It's that one extra piece of information.
Yeah.
But there's a chapter I've written in this book that you will read a certain way until you get to the last sentence of that chapter, and it changes the entire meaning of the chapter.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Wow. That's kind of an interesting, fun way to read a book. Can you give us some samples of some of the other sayings you have in the book? Tease us out maybe a little bit of them.
Well, it's again, it's not what you know or who you know.
Mm.
It's what you know about who you know.
Mm.
There's a lot of different things in there that that have meanings that go beyond it. Another saying of life. I mean, satisfaction equals happiness. That's if you find yourself being satisfied, that's
Mm.
the goal. One of the most important things you can do in life is the way that you affect other people. Really,
Mm.
when you come down to it, there's nothing else. I mean, it's how you're affecting the people around you
Mm-hmm.
means everything that there is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of the mantra you want to have in this life. Leave the world in a better place than the way you found it. And I think that's really important for people to, people. I'm an atheist, and so people will be like, "Well, what's your moral compass?" Well, I don't
Mm.
know, do unto to others. The stanzas of the time that have stood the test of time. Do good unto others. How you want to be treated. It kind of makes sense. There's a lot of times, whereas even as an atheist, I look at what would Jesus do in the Bible and stuff.
Mhm.
It's a good self-help book, and a lot of these old tomes that we've had for a jillion years is they're kind of great self-help books. They talk about stuff and stuff that you need, and so that's important. But some of these axioms of understanding life, what they're about, and all that good stuff are something that can really help you to change and grow and reflect on who you are in life, et cetera, et cetera. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, one of the two of the themes in the book are he has a trophy shelf that he keeps clear in his room when he's from a young child on up, and he never
Mhm.
gets any trophies. Um,
Really?
but he puts other things on there that have
Mm.
much deeper meaning
Oh,
than the trophies.
oh, well,
And one of the other things is he wants to change the world. Again, he's young, and his fifth grade teacher tells him how. She tells him the secret to changing the world. And he can't wait to hear this.
mm.
And she says, if you want to change the world, plant a flower.
Ah,
And he doesn't understand that, but she explains it that if you plant a flower, it will grow. It'll add beauty to the world. It'll add nourishment to the garden. It'll feed the birds. It'll do all these things. Now imagine if you planted flowers your entire life, every day. You go. That's all you have to do is keep. In 1,000 years, the world will be different because you planted that one flower.
yeah.
And that's really the message that he takes away from that.
Mm. Well, that's a really good message. I mean, some people lose track of the big thing and they go, well, I got to achieve something before I can do something with the world. I've got to become successful, yada, 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 before I can do something with the world. And the great thing is that you don't have to. You can affect the world. You can affect people, in very small ways. Like I remember when I used to go to Starbucks, can't believe I ever did that. When I used to go to Starbucks for their quote unquote coffee syrup, whatever the hell that crap is,
Mm,
uh, I would, a lot of times my local place would have a, they would have a line at the car park there or at the car window there, and somebody had started a pay it forward, so they would always be like, "Do you want to? Someone paid
mhm.
for your meal. Do you want to pay for the one behind?" And it's kind of a silly sort of way of doing things because it's like, okay, sure, someone paid for mine, I'll pay for theirs, yada yada yada, and you just hope they didn't have a really big order.
Sure. Yep.
But and they're like $100. I'm like, wait, is that? I think somewhere I got screwed in the line, but just simple things like that make your day and remind you that people are human. Being kind to someone, making someone smile. I do a lot of street photography, so I'll make people smile on the street. I'll make them laugh sometimes. Sometimes they're kind of in their own world or they're worried about, being on the street, wandering around. Sometimes there's transients bothering people in the corners, and they'll see me taking their picture, and I'll wave at them, let them know it's okay. We're not with the CIA or anything, and and at first they're kind of alarmed. They're like, "Why is this guy?" And I have a really long lens, so it's hard for them to tell if I'm taking their picture. But eventually they'll catch on because they get closer, and they'll see me taking their picture. And at first they're just kind of like alarmed, like, "Oh, what's going on over here? We're being monitored by the deep state or something, whatever." And I'll just wave at them like that, and then they'll break out in laughter and they'll wave back. They'll be like, "Oh, okay, we're the feature," and they kind of like that. And it's funny the responses that I get from it because they'll wave, and sometimes the whole group of people that's crossing the street towards me, they'll all wave. And I'm like, this is really nice. Everyone gets along, everyone of all colors, walks of life, everyone who's just there at the corner, is all happy and
Absolutely.
one is humanity for once. And I love those moments. And hopefully those people go on and they pass that forward. They pass on the smiles or happiness to someone else. So
Yeah, it's not that complicated. And if you talk about another ism, one of the things, and that's mentioned is people get obsessed with this endless pursuit to obtain what they already have.
yeah,
And if you look at your life and reflect on it, you can see very often you're trying to get more of something that you already have enough of.
mm. And what is that?
It could be money, it could be fame, it could be whatever it is that you're kind of maybe over focusing on.
Mm-hmm.
In the book, the main character views fame as a poison.
Mm-hmm.
It's something he wanted no part of. He keeps a very low profile.
Mm-hmm.
And when you think about it, fame is probably nice for about 10 minutes, and then you got to watch everything you do, and
Yeah.
everyone has to criticize it, and you'll never please all these people. And the worst part about fame is you create an image that's not you,
Yeah.
almost always. You become a persona, and that's
Yeah.
not you.
And a lot of people assume your persona too. Like, I've had that for years with what we've done with the Chris Voss show and being online since 2008. People assume they know you. Sometimes it's because they assume they know you because they're on the they listen to the podcast every day and they feel like they have a relationship with you because they have a relationship with you. But like for me, I don't know them from Adam. I'm
Right.
nice to them when they meet me, but there's times people run up to me and scream, "The Chris Voss Show.com," and I'll be like, "Security,
Right.
whoa, hold on, calm down. It's
Sure.
okay. I love fans, but they'll do that to me, and I appreciate it. I mean, I'd rather them not scream and run up to me like they're gonna jump on top of me and stab me in the face or something. But those are usually reserved for my ex-girlfriends.
Okay.
But
Fair
but no, I mean, fame is. It's interesting how people assume who you are, and there's probably a million different versions of who people think I am. And they'll tell me sometimes, when they meet me, and then I'll just be like, that where the fuck did you get that person from? But that's how people are. They project themselves onto you. And so but can be fleeting, especially in like Hollywood or some places. You can get like all this fame. We've seen all the Hollywood children that crash out when they become stars,
Yeah.
and they're children, and they
Yep.
crash out when the fame fades. And so that can't be always up to what you think it is or want it to be.
So, and it's important to, if you do wind up with those things with a lot of money, or or you're famous or something, to use them for the right purpose.
Yeah. And fame is, and money can be fleeting too. I mean, sometimes you can have huge successes, but also huge failures. And many people experience those failures. They'll experience huge successes, and all that good stuff. Fun is fun. Fun is fun. So final thoughts as we go out. Tell people where they can pick up the book and how they can find out more.
Sure, it'll be available on Amazon upcoming shortly. It'll be available on Kindle as well. And I would hope that people will read the book, read it slowly. It's not meant to be digested in a very fast manner. It goes through a very amusing story, a very entertaining story, but there's a much deeper meaning to it underneath the surface.
There you go. Well, we always need to learn in life. So thank you very much, Douglas, for coming on the show. We really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. And watch for the links and announcements on the Chris Voss Show for the book, where you can find it on Amazon, et cetera, et cetera. And we'll get those updates out to you. Thanks, Mounties, for tuning in. Order the book wherever fine books are sold. The Smallest of Miracles you want to look for by Douglas, and it's just called The Smallest of Miracles.
That's correct.
Tighten that up. By Douglas Carpenter. You want to look for it. Bookstores everywhere. Thanks so much for tuning in. Go to goodreads.com/Chris Voss, LinkedIn.com/Chris Voss, Chris Voss 1 on the TikTok, YouTube.com/Chris Voss, and all those crazy places on the internet. Be good to each other. Stay safe. We'll see you guys next time.
Thank you.
And that should have us out. Great show.